This is scheduled for 2 hours. Hopefully it's not going to take that long. Just a couple of things that we're going to go over. There's a video that lasts about 15 minutes that is like power packed with update stuff. And then we'll do a question and answer. There's some things that after I made the video, I remembered I didn't put in there. So we'll go over those quick. And then we'll cover any questions that you guys have from the video. And then it'll just be open season. We'll be on full blast at that point. You ask any questions you want. Give it one more minute, see if anybody else wants to join in. Yeah, so this is also being recorded. So after it's done, I'm going to send out a link to rewatch it. So if you're only able to participate for an hour or a half hour and you want to fill in the rest by watching it in the future, that's great. Anybody that isn't here for the live session is going to have to at least watch that at some point over the next 2 weeks, and that'll be all that information will be in an email that's sent. All right. I guess let's roll. Let me see. All right. If anybody's audio is messed up or anything, just shout out in the text and I'll see it in the chat, and I'll see if I can fix that. This is my first time using Zoom, so you guys get to suffer along with me. This is what happened last time. Hopefully. It keeps doing that. All right. Nope. We did this earlier and it worked. Hey, Eric, can you raise your hand if you see a green screen? Or shake your head if you don't see a green screen. Yeah, there is a green screen. Oh, sweet. All right, this might work then. All right, somebody gives me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. Awesome. Great, thank you for taking the time to tune into this FTO program update. We are recording this if you want to replay any of my jokes. So let's start with the Field Training Officers Manual. There's a code of ethics, a mission statement, evaluation overviews, and a lot of other stuff you were never going to read anyway. So you just want a copy, raise your hand. That's the first joke because this is a video and I can't see you. So what does it all mean? An FTO trains new employees. That's what the stipend's for. We try to spread the workload. To some of you, it may seem like you always have a trainee, while others never do. And, you know, I'm here today to tell you that you're absolutely 100% without a doubt correct. By virtue of your rotation, location, or training availability, some of you work much harder than others. We know this not by anecdotal evidence, but by hard data. We track more than just who you train. Stuff like averages of how many shifts it takes to clear trainees, how many days an employee is in the training process. We break it down by cert, by status. All of this helps to show just how much an amazing contribution you all are doing to onboard Monroe staff. Star of Stage and Screen, Matt Karachi, logged 100 shifts with trainees in just 1 year. So that's a trainee every 2.5 days. And since last February, Trish Dix cleared 15 new hires. To put that into perspective, our January orientation was 15 people. Yeah, so Trish is responsible for clearing the equivalent of our largest orientation class ever. Is the audio cut out? All right. Back up. Let's just do this. Yes, well, first you have to remember that you have the benefit. And now training, what we mean by training, that means anything from research classes like CPR, ACLS, CME lectures at Highland or STEP. It also includes educational credits for classes to be a CLI or a CIC if that's what you want to do. We've also included training pay for enrolling in classes to develop interpersonal skills, classes such as ridiculous med control requests, managing the slow folk, tolerating operations, and eliminating 4-letter words from your vocabulary while speaking to dispatch. All those benefits begin at the FTO2 level. So how do I achieve the FTO2 level? Well, I'm glad you asked. Since you already go above and beyond, it means going above and beyond. So take a look at this. These are projects that your colleagues are working on to advance the culture of EMS here at Monroe Ambulance. These projects count towards moving into that FTO2 spot. All these projects are downtime compatible, and especially now when not paired with a trainee, we have some of the most free time ever experienced while on shift. So you can scroll Facebook and search for the 79th consecutive video of a hamster wearing a tiny hat singing Adele, or you can use some of that time for an FTO project. Maybe projects aren't your thing. We have an orientation class almost every month. SIBO is an afternoon of fun with orange cones, and we need FTOs to assist with that driving course. Another 2 orientation days, we need help with skills labs. There's a safety committee run by our highly respected safety and risk manager, Scott Flynn. There's the employee engagement committee run by Grammy Award winner Lil Kim. We always need help in the classroom with the latest New York State BLS original course. What I'm saying is there's hundreds of opportunities every week to advance the culture of EMS here at Monroe. So my next item, e-pro messages. Yeah, you get a lot of them. Yeah, it's a pain. We recently reached out to the FTO team to figure out how to improve communications and information flow. Through your feedback, we found that e-pro is not the best method to accomplish this. It seems e-pro is a convenient way to distribute information, but not receive it. So we are going to focus more on the communication distribution system that Scott set up. So if we have an update that needs to be pushed to the department, you'll be contacted through this method. If you're a city bus, Matt Karachi is going to reach out to you. West Side trucks are, Eric Dodge is going to handle that. And the Wyoming County group is Dan Rogers. I'll be taking care of St. Paul. So if you have any questions, it's a 2-way information flow too. If you have any requests, suggestions, send them through there. You can always call me directly. While Matt meets up with you at the hospital and you've got something to say to him, he'll pass it along to me. We're going to try to work that angle. So, like I said, the FTO department, it's a two-way conduit of information flow. We augment operations in the QA/QI program. It's also a way for the training department to pass along opportunities to go above and beyond. So new developments, training folders. There's a new procedures checklist. And I'll tell you, nothing makes me happier than when a trainee brings me their folder and every page is signed by both them and the FTO. And this checklist has both columns completed. Without this done, my hour-long clearing meeting turns into a 2-hour-long clearing meeting. I get home late and my wife goes from this to this. She's actually a very nice woman. But it would be nice if I didn't have to spend that extra hour on something that could have been completed before downtime. So please, it helps me out a lot. Every orientation class has homework. Before they arrive to you on day one, they should have logged into ePro to verify their password, logged into EMS charts to verify that that password works, and completed a dummy chart. Now, this is a homework assignment, and it's a direct result of feedback from you all. Like, it's our intention to make the orientation classes increasingly day one ready, so you don't need to do our work. If your trainee arrives without having done the assignment, they deserve a thorough scolding. Other supplementals to the training folder now include a BLS quiz. You can go over with them, a combo bag schematic, maps of common posting areas, phone number, door, cheat codes, an organizational chart, a map game developed by our very own Tim Goria. Shout out to Tim. Every one of these are a direct result of feedback we get from you about what we can do to improve the field training process. So keep it coming. There's plenty to do and lots of ways to help. There's also a new feedback form at the end of the training folder. Instead of the 1 through 5 that we used to have, we just made it a yes, no, with more of the points that we hope to see from our team. You'll notice it looks a lot like a description of the duties for being an FTO, and you would be correct in thinking that. Something else we started doing in January is a 90-day check-in with our trainees. On or around 90 days after orientation, Tim Kelly reaches out to your trainee to give them an opportunity in confidence to talk a lot of smack. If it's even possible to say anything negative while sitting across from a face like that. So QA still struggles to get done. We have a lower call volume. There's an opportunity to go above and beyond by doing lots of QA while on post. You should have all been moved to your new QA levels. So we are no longer doing S1 QA. You should be at whatever your cert level is. So if you're BLS, you should be in the BLS QA category, ALS, SCT providers or ILO. So if this isn't the case, reach out to me. We'll make that correction. It's just something that Justin can do. But our QA all-stars, right? Ashley Goodenberry, who does 14,000 charts a week, and Dan Rogers, of course, down in Lyman County. Just as a reminder, your weekly, 20 charts per week would be great. We understand it gets a little busy, but 5 per shift at least. If you can do that, we would really appreciate it. I also encourage y'all to attend Zoom town hall meetings. It's a great opportunity to get caught up on what's happening around Monroe and ask questions directly to the people who live behind the gilded doors. Thank you for your time. Now, how do I unscreen share this? Stop. All right. I love the sound of my voice. To piggyback on a couple of things, and raise your hand if you have any quick questions. I got some other things to cover real quick. No, all right, so piggyback on the video. QA, right? So what we're doing now, instead of everybody doing billing QA, everybody gets divided up into levels. So like I said, you should be moved into your new level. I don't know what the S stands for in the beginning of this, but S1 used to be billing, and now there's levels that are 10, 20, 30, and then there's some SCT levels on top of that. So if you're a BLS tech, you're going to be doing QA at the S20 level, S20 and S25. Those are the BLS transports. You're looking for clinical care, not billing issues anymore. Billing is going to have been already taken care of. You can skip that whole thing. Focus on clinical care issues at the BLS level. ALS tech, same thing. If you're ALS, you should be in the ALS QA level. There is a specific level, it's the S10 level. So the thing is, when we divide people up into these levels, you're able to see every level below you. So everybody in the ALS level can see BLS charts, can see the S10 level and billing charts as well. Don't mess with anything else other than your level, right? There's no way we can specifically divide you into that level and limit who you can see. So for example, if you're an ALS tech and you're getting charts that are BLS charts, up in the upper left-hand corner of EMS charts, there should be a way to see what that level is. It'll say what level the chart is at. So if you see an S21, just skip it, go to a different one. The S10 level is very specific for new employees. Anybody that comes through the door that we are clearing here goes into the S10 level for 6 months. It's where every one of their charts gets a set of eyes put on it. The other levels, there's a cross section of charts that get pulled to put into those levels. Something like 30% of all charts go into the other levels. The S10 is specific to 100% of charts that a person, let's see, so if a paramedic is less than 6 months here, every one of their charts goes into that S10 level to get looked at. I would appreciate it if you, in your doing charts, if you could just leave those alone. There's reasons that people might be in that specific level that we decided to move them to, and we're working on specific aspects of their charts, for example, and it would be easier for us if we could just limit that to one information stream, one person working with them at a time. People who are auditing S10 have been assigned a batch of people to take a look at, and so that they can have consistent feedback about their charts and what we're working on. As far as advancing charts, if you write a flag and you want to continue and you would like to see the response to that flag, don't advance the chart. Once you advance it, it moves up into a level and it may move beyond your level. So for example, you're an ALS tech in the S30 level and you attach a flag that says, why didn't you give aspirin? And then you want to see the response. If you advance the chart, it moves on to the next level, which would be like 50, 60, whatever it is, and you won't be able to see it. So don't advance the chart if you want to see it. Also, if you're QAing a chart and you notice that there's already a flag attached, go ahead and attach another one of your flags, but don't advance that chart beyond that level, because you may advance it to a point where the person that wrote the flag won't be able to see the reply. I think that covers the QA stuff. The new trainee folders, like I said in the video, all of the stuff that we've added, all the supplementals are direct feedback from you guys that say, here's what we could do to help out trainees, like maps and such. The new operational checklist, the procedure checklist, it's gone from wide to tall. If there's anything, that's still a work in progress. If you have any comments that you want to leave, feel free to leave them right on the page for me, because when I sit down with the trainee at the end for their meeting, I go through that third column is for me to run down. So if there's anything in there that you want to leave comments, I'll see them. Or you could just send me an email, it doesn't matter, whatever. But if there's anything on that page that maybe doesn't make sense, that you're going over and you're like, I don't know why this is in here, reach out to me for that too. Somebody mentioned making almost like a script that explains every one of those. I kind of don't feel like I really want to do that because we all have our own ways of, you know, working through things with trainees, and it, you know, we all have our own way of passing information along. I feel like a script would kind of be, I don't know, kind of pigeonholes people, but definitely there's things on here on that checklist that you don't see. And, you know, what I mentioned in the video is it's real important to have at least those 2 columns filled out. It's just, you know, makes my life so much easier. Okay, cool. So that was all the follow-up from the video. Let's see. Okay, now questions on anything that was covered in the video. Do you guys know how to use the raise hand feature? So across the bottom of your screen, there should be participants and chat. If you click on those, it'll open up a window to the right that lists participants, and in there you should be able to use the raise hand feature. From Bill, if we have a significant concern on a chart, what is chain to follow? Good question. So if it's, so a couple examples, if it's a person who is consistently not doing the scene grid correctly, and you've attached a flag to like 6 charts at this point, you can reach out to me. Justin's still really heavily involved in QA. Send an email or phone call, text, Leanne also. We can address that from a different angle with that person. If it's a significant clinical QA issue where it's something that is like patient harmful, protocol violations, something that probably needs to be addressed on a QA committee level, call my attention to it. You're more than welcome to send an email to Mike Beauvais. Make sure you include the chart number and the PRID. If you don't feel comfortable attaching a flag specifically to that chart, you know, just put in the email. You know, what your concern was, so that we understand what you're talking about. But you know, if you come across something as an auditor, you're 100% empowered to address that with a flag. Bill, did that answer your question? Hang on. Yep, okay. Looks like the video got broken up for a couple of you. There's, like I said, there's going to be a replay. All right, from Ian, is there a place where we can find reference info on the QA system levels and such? I guess I'm your reference. That's another moving target as well. Sometimes we find that we need to break down the levels further, or we need to move a level above a level so that a chart travels through. It's something that we go over every 2 weeks in QA about how we should be dividing this up. But if you specifically, if you log on and all you see are S1 charts, then send me a text or an email and we'll get that fixed. It's very simple. It's just something that Justin goes in and adjusts. So if you're a BLS tech, you should be S20, S25. If you're an ALS tech, it should be S30, 35. And if you're an SCT provider like RSI, I think it's 60, 40, 60, they're up from there. Let's see, Andy, I think part of your question got cut off. All we got was a month or less. Oh, here it is. What's the status of Monroe hiring? Are we still trying to have an orientation once a month or less?
That's average, yeah. This last round of hiring, we had a lot more applications than we hired. So there's been an influx of people wanting the job, and we're being more picky now. But we still are putting one on about every month. And if I'm not, Kim can probably speak to this, but I think we're planning on one for July. It's August, we're skipping to August. All right. Yeah, so probably be about every month, minus July. I'll just read Kim's. Ideally, we would do one a quarter. That's a long-term goal, working towards it. Yeah, orientation is, it's a lot of resources to put on, right? We've got, Leanne has to commit a whole week to it. We have to do things, we have to ask for FTOs to go above and beyond her to come in and help out with things like SIBO and stuff like that. So, it's definitely, it's resource intensive. So. All right, any other questions specific to the video? Okay. A couple more things. Let's see. Kim did send out a questionnaire for people that have been through orientation feedback, and some of the things that they wanted we're already actively doing. As a matter of fact, they talk about SSMP locations, but it does seem like the trend, because this is something that we do for every orientation class. After about 6 months, we send out an anonymous survey. The trend seems to be getting better. It seems like we're covering a lot of these things that they wish they had done in orientation. And I don't know, it's good to hear the feedback now, whereas it used to be just this blast of, I didn't get what I wanted, or it was really difficult for me. And all this, this is all stuff that we're trying to do so that they're ready when they hit the road, so that you guys don't have to spend the first day going over a lot of this stuff. So I do see Dan Rogers up in the corner. We're also working on Wyoming County specific things because everybody in Wyoming County does come through orientation here before they head down there. So Dan's got a whole different training folder for the people down there. Shout out to Dan. I think that's all I had for the wrap up on the video. All right. I think we're getting into the free-for-all. There are a couple of questions that, let's see. Oh, I know. One was about the way that we decided to put this on. So, right, everybody that's off duty now, that's logging in, that is participating, you're on the clock currently. Anybody that's on duty, unfortunately, we can't double pay you. And then anybody that goes back and we have 2 weeks. Anybody that didn't participate, you still have 2 weeks to watch this video as it's recorded. That's something to be done on duty. Like, I realized that, yeah, it would be great to say that we could pay an hour of time for you to watch a video off duty. There's a lot of different things that we had to navigate in order to just put this on. We've been trying to get an FTO update for a long time now, and it seems like something always gets in the way. And whether it's payroll because we're on a downturn, COVID, we can't get together in the same building, bandwidth issues because of, you know, the rest of the world, you know, trying to, I don't know, watch hamsters wearing hats and sing Adele. So this was just the way that we could take a little bit from every category and try to still put out this update and still have people participate. So yeah, I'm sorry it doesn't seem fair for everybody, but it's the best that we could do under the circumstances. So all right. Let's see if I'm missing any. All right. Really didn't have much for an update. That's why I made the video, to try to jam it all in there. Free for all, questions, discussion time. I'll unmute you so you can ask. Actually. Okay, you can now unmute yourself if you have a question.
Evan, I'll just add something, a question for that I'm curious with the group. As a part-timer, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing my part because you guys are getting bombarded with all this single FTO stuff. Is there an opportunity that if we pick up shifts last minute and let's say, you know, Matt's been pounded with students or trainees, that we can cover them for the day so he doesn't have to get, you know, 98 of them per year and help out with that, as opposed to it having to be a one person all the time?
Yeah, my audio really sucks, so I think I got the gist. Mindy, if I'm gonna, let me recap what you said, that, you know, you're trying to find ways to help out the FTO department as a part-timer, that maybe you feel like you could take a trainee for a few days to relieve some of the burden on other FTOs. Is that correct? Okay, that's great. Yeah, we could definitely look into that. That sounds like a great way to help out. One of the things that we try to do, it seems like people move through the training process when they have consistency. So if we have one FTO that's working regularly, like the first day is always that getting to know you. I don't understand what the rules are, you know, and the expectations, and trying to find a vibe with your FTO. And sometimes that can set people back, right? So consistency, but there's a lot of times where that's not the case, where the person's doing fine and they just need a break. And it's a long drawn out process. So thank you for the offer. You know what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on that as the schedule goes through. You know, I'll if that opportunity arises, I'll definitely send you a text or email to ask if that'd be possible for that one day. Thank you very much for that. Bill, yeah, thanks. You know, I definitely know in the past we've used Bill for you know, one-off, especially when we have like part-time rapid clear paramedics. You know, Bill's helped out with that, so it's great to have at least a few part-timers that can do the part-time paramedics too. So I'll keep you guys in mind. Thank you for offering. All right.
Can you hear me? Is my audio working?
Yep. Go ahead.
So has there been any thought to like possibly doing like a monthly email to all FTOs to kind of update us on the situation? Maybe how many, trainees are currently in rotation, any new changes to the program, and a chance to allow people to give monthly feedback? Is that something that would be possible?
Yeah. So Ian asked if more frequent updates, maybe on a email format. That's definitely possible.
Or does anyone think that would be, useful or not? I guess just opening it up to the group.
I think that's a good idea, Ian.
I did attempt that through ePro because ePro is the one way that I can make sure that I have information for everybody. A lot of times when I would bring it up to people later, they say, well, I didn't read it or I didn't get that far down the list. I'd be willing to start it again. ePro really is the easiest way to send it out there. Otherwise, I would have to like gather all your email addresses. If there's another way that's better than ePro for monthly email, then I'm all in on that. Please send your suggestions. A lot of you, in fact, almost everybody on the screen that I can see has been in the FTO program since I started. And I'm pretty sure you guys remember a time where there were like weekly updates, and then it kind of trailed off because it seemed like they weren't reaching the target audience, I think. So I'll be more than happy to restart that up if you think ePro is the right way to go. Let's see from Mindy. Mindy, what do you mean by deposits topics?
Let's try the audio one more time. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear my audio or no?
It's my audio that's messed up, I think. I can barely hear you.
We got you.
You're pretty clear for me, Mindy.
Okay. I was just alluding to what Ian asked, is that if, as we tend to be, I'll speak for myself, I tend to be a gotta do it while I'm thinking of it type of person. So if something comes up, if we had somewhere to deposit those things to, whether it's an email address, whether it's everything else, and then there was just somebody that was compiling them to put them into a package to be discussed, or we knew that there was a timeline that it was going to be discussed. So going back to Ian's thing, I may send it to you, but I don't need immediate response. That we know on the 15th of every month or whatever, decide that is going to be reoccurring and those things are going to be addressed. But at least that information is deposited somewhere so that we can keep a running tally of it, as opposed to, awkward silence and we're all trying to remember if there was things that we were trying to discuss.
No, that's not a bad idea. I know we were doing something like that. Kim could probably speak to it, like a living document for COVID updates. Maybe we can adapt that to the FTO department with just, it could almost be like a shared Google Doc or something. I don't know. Don't let this sweet haircut and nerdy glasses fool you. I really have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to computers and things like that. So, if there's somebody out there that wants to take that on as a project, as being like overseer of the living document, please, raise a hand, send a message. We could.
I added to the chat, Kevin. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep.
I'm willing to, collect everyone's email or set up a Google Drive or, and then Kevin, if you send me the info you want on there and anyone else can send me questions they have, I wouldn't mind operating something like that.
Thanks, Ian. We're jotting you down for that then. Yeah, Google Drive. I use Google Drive a lot, so that's something I could even pick up and jump in on too.
And even if those people that you assigned, I think it was Dodgy and Karachi, were, you know, in charge of like East West or whatever we're doing with that, if there was an email, just a generic, you know, FTOs@montereymonks.com, and we knew that there was 4 people that were receiving that same email, at least somebody was going to account for that information and bring it up either the next time we got together, or if it needs to be specific to you, your level, Kevin, or, you know, whoever you, then we're just emailing you directly. So it's just one of those things to be able to differentiate that somebody's laying eyes on that type of information. So maybe there's, you know, those 4 people and whoever else gets that designee. Just thoughts.
Yeah, they're great ideas, really. Matt.
I've been in and out of this doing end of shift duties. So if anybody's got questions for me, or if I miss anything important, I'm going to watch the video again, but you can give me my email address, Kevin.
Let me.
Like if anybody's got to talk to me directly for something.
And go ahead. What is it? I'll type it out. Do you want to give it out right now?
Dave says Shrinky Dink Wiener. So there's a large echo because we're both on Zoom with our phones. Hang on. Did everybody get that last thing that I said about emailing me?
Yeah. Do you want to give it out right now? Do you want to, or do you want to include it?
Yeah,
in
if everybody wants it.
Yeah, go ahead.
MV Karachi at Yahoo.
All right.
I put my mask on for Eric.
All right, Andy, ready. Is there any talk about bringing in FTOs for pre-hire skills again now that we are being more selective in hiring? I will tell you that we did do pre-hire skills with a few people from the last round. So yes, we're actually starting to do that. Thank you very much. I can go over that with you later. Let's see. All right. There was one, so something Kara Hutchinson asked directly to me. She wanted to know, you know, what are we doing to try to limit the amount of, I'm going to totally butcher this, but it has to do with the amount of time that we have people in the training process, and is there a limit to how much energy we're going to put into people before cutting them loose? And, you know, I think that's the spirit of her question. And, you know, personally, I think everybody deserves a full opportunity as much as possible. You know, we wouldn't be the training department at Monroe Ambulance if we didn't want everybody to succeed. And so some people, we put an extremely large amount of resources and energy into trying to help make them succeed, right? Not everybody shows up on day one with all the skills that we have on day 300. So from the road, it probably looks like we're cutting people too much slack. And, you know, I would rather err on the side of letting somebody find their feet a little more than not, right? And what ends up happening is, you know, people know when they take too long in the process. People understand that. But what you end up with is a really employee that's real thankful, right? Somebody that that's a one good way to develop loyalty. And you know, how much energy do we put into people? Well, that's on an individual basis. I wish there was an algorithm or a cutoff point that we could say, you know, once you reach this, if you haven't done X, Y, Z, then you're gone. I will tell you that we're very aggressive with PIPs. When somebody needs, a PIP is a performance improvement plan. When somebody needs more close direction, we spend a lot of time working with them on, you know, what can we do? We bring them in for extra work. We, if we need to change an FTO, we definitely spend a lot of time working with people. So hang on, I see Kim's hand is raised. It would give me a chance to collect my thoughts if I could figure out how to unmute her. There she is.
Can you hear me? So kind of to piggyback off of what Kevin was saying, we're a training agency, right? So we want to take folks and really give them the opportunity to train. And some people are just going to take a little bit longer than others. So there's no like, you've been with us 5 weeks, you haven't gotten to X point and you're out. But there is, to Kevin's point again, you know, you've been with us 5 weeks, you haven't gotten to X point. How can we help you get to X point? So we are using the performance improvement plans pretty consistently, and I'm happy to see the growth that we've had. And most of the time we do see people stepping up to the plate and completing those performance improvement plans and getting the resources that they need. And sometimes just handing someone a piece of paper with like, these are the areas where you're deficient and let's talk about it is all that they need. So we've seen a lot of improvement there, but we do also utilize the performance improvement plans to help other people identify, hey, maybe this isn't the right place for you, and start doing some work on your end to figure out if Monroe's a place where you would like to stay long-term. So they do end up kind of going both ways, but Kevin's done a fantastic job in streamlining that process. And we as a training team have started utilizing them earlier in the process based off of the feedback that you guys have given us. And that's why you guys documenting every call, every shift is so important, because Kevin will read through every single one of those calls in order to create that PIP with as much detail as possible. So everything you guys are doing marries right into us being able to really coach them and train them up or out as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, Kim's right. When it's time to do a performance improvement plan, I sit down and I read every single one of those reviews. And we log any unsatisfactory comments that you've written in there get logged. And so we actually use hard data to formulate those improvement plans. So if you don't think like when don't blow off your evaluations of them. Like if there's something that needs to be said in there, it needs to be said. And that is great feedback for us to use to make that performance improvement plan. I do actually read every single page there. I really do. I know it might not seem like it when the folder's this thick and they've been training for 6 months, but I really do read all those comments. It all goes into eventually their human resources file too. So, if you think about like down the road, if there was something to happen and then they came back and said, well, nobody ever told me. Well, it says right here that, on this day, you had this issue before, and we tried to correct it at that point. So, Dave, I see you are unmuted.
Sorry.
That's it. You just wanted to apologize to everybody. Tell us a joke, Dave. Kim, is your hand up because it didn't go back down, or did you have something else to say? Okay. Let's see, what was one of the other things that Kara asked? I really wish she was here because she had 2 good points that I wanted to cover. All right. Any other questions? I think we're at the any other questions, long drawn out silence part of this. I'm scanning through my notes to see if there's anything. Kim, do we like Zoom? Should we do this again? So Zoom seemed to be okay for this.
Perfect.
Simple seems to work. Yes, okay. All right, I appreciate that. This is a format that would work for me too. It's a lot easier than trying to schedule everybody to bring them in. As far as, let's say you weren't able to attend the live, is 2 weeks enough time? Do you feel is 2 weeks enough time to review the video while you're on shift? Okay. All right, then that's what we'll plan for then. We'll do this again. This is, I really appreciate all the feedback. I think this is it. We're right at the hour mark. This is great. How about any other questions? We'll go once, twice. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for participating. And have a good weekend. Happy 4th of July.